For Saturday, October 10th, 2020, this is the Pro and Con Show, and I am your host, Michael James Ott, just as it says on the magic slate. I'm your host. Okay, so the show, step by step, I've been trying to stimulate people to be a little bit better citizens, myself included. This is my attempt to try to be a better citizen, to be a little bit more proactive, to try to help us collectively, suggest that we should move forward and do some things that are in our mutual interest to improve our governance. Wow, right? Let's do it. Come on, let's do it. Let's do it. We can do this. So step by step, I've been doing all kinds of shows on different issues and things like that. And one of the things I've talked about periodically was this proposed Citizen Statesman Amendment. So it's an amendment that addresses candidacy for those positions in our government. Okay? And because the government is sound, the structure is sound, we just need to put better people in it. And how do we do that? Okay? So this is actually part 3 in a multi-part series about this amendment and kind of fleshing out step by step what these things would look like, and to help people kind of envision it. One of the things that's true about us as a species is stories, having greater detail and greater imagining of the thing, kind of putting in a place, in a setting. It helps us visualize it, realize it in our minds. And so this is the intent of this series, is to actually take this proposed amendment and talk about it at some length in short blocks as we go through from top to bottom in the amendment. We follow the election process through, and so that we can kind of all, okay, I think I get what they're saying, and okay, yeah, maybe that does make sense. Maybe that sounds like maybe that's a pretty good idea. So we had talked about in the last show, we talked about the fact that there's this centralized system, and we're going to cast a wide net. And we're going to grab anywhere from 6 to 10 Americans age 25 and older from from all the different congressional districts and put them into this central database. And those folks are going to be compelled to give information on themselves. Okay. And so we start, it's an election year, and we start doing that in early January. And then over the course of a month or two, that information is there. And that allows the rest of us to then step by step review that information. So we can go into this database and again, you can pick on, by location or by education or by, there'd be like search terms. It'd be very much like doing a Google search or something like that. You could filter, sort, search, and then everyone step by step can review this, and that's actually this phase that I'm talking about. So the information's there. It's been compelled. The citizens that were randomly selected have been compelled to give the information. So the information is now there. And now it's getting close to mid-year. And it's time for us to start looking at that information. So here's the actual words of this phase. No later than end of May of every election year, each state's citizen shall use the candidate information in the electronic system to vote for and thereby rank the candidates of the offices of President, Senate, or House. Candidates will automatically be sorted into groups by the system for each office according to age limits or geographic location for the respective offices. So in other words, these random people from the congressional district in Kansas somewhere, maybe there's a rural place in Kansas, So those 6 to 10 randomly selected people from that congressional district, they're of course going to remain associated with that congressional district because at least one of them ultimately would end up being the representative. And then they would be associated with the state of Kansas, or maybe a certain area in Kansas, because one of that group would be considered, or maybe at least one of them would be considered to be a senator from the state of Kansas, you see. And then, some number of them would be over age 35. And those people that are age 35 and older would be automatically kind of put into the pool that all of us could look at for the potential to be president or vice president of the country. So that's how that works so far. So here we go. So they'd automatically be put in the system, and then before the end of April of the election year, candidates may post additional information, including standardized format papers, videos, and other information intended to educate the voters. In other words, the initial phase in the last show that I did was you're compelled to give kind of like basic information. And now we're in the next phase, and the candidates, and some of this might be compelled and some of it might be voluntary, but there would be whatever, I don't know, mock town halls or just small group meetings where people would talk to the candidates, or maybe there's people around the candidates, their family and friends or whatever would be compelled perhaps to make a video and just talk about, well, I've known Jimmy since he was 7, and Jimmy's always been a level-headed guy who you could count on to help you if you were in trouble, and or whatever they would say. Or Lance has been this terrible person, and as far as I'm concerned, you should forget about him being in one of these offices in our government, because he's just not a very nice person. All that kind of stuff would be in there, okay? So the information is intended to educate the voters. The information cannot mention other candidates nor make references, nuanced or otherwise, to them. So this is information, standardized information. It's about the candidates. It's not about one candidate pointing at another and saying, I'm smarter than him, or I'm more experienced than her, or whatever. It's information on the person, okay? The contents and standards for voting and candidate information shall be specified and approved by a simple majority vote of the House of Representatives prior to each election cycle. For the office of president, the top 5 candidates from national voting will proceed to the next phase. The top 3 candidates from each office for each state shall proceed to the next phase. So what you're going to end up doing, and maybe this is some kind of ranked voting kind of thing, where us as individuals, maybe you got 10, I don't know. Maybe each of us would have 10 votes, and the person that we like the most, we can actually give them 10 points. And the person that we like second best, we can give them 9 points. And the person we like third best, we can give them 8 points, and so on. And so we can go in there, and after we've looked at all their information, and here are the people that I like, and this person I think is really great, so I'm gonna support that person. They're my number 1 pick, so I'm going to give them 10 points, and so on. And the system would just let us all do that, and then it would automatically tabulate behind the scenes, so that we wouldn't be influenced here, and it would tabulate, and then we would end up with the top vote getters, the top point getters, And those folks would go on to the next phase of this process. So, okay, so here we are. We cast the wide net in the last show, and now we've gathered yet additional information and started actually force ranking, voting, however you want to call it, to get kind of this sieve thing going on where we're taking certain people and saying, oh, that's okay, we appreciate that you submitted your information, but the majority of us, don't think you're the greatest candidate for Senate or whatever. So you're done. Here you go. You're out of the system. But these other people that are thought of more highly by all of us would be lifted up in the system and would be considered for future evaluation and eventually election to their various offices. Okay, so that's part 3 of this multi-part series on the Citizen Statesman Amendment. Part 4 is coming up. My name is Michael James Ott. This has been the Pro and Con Show. And until the next show, which is part 4, bye for now.